Welcome back, America. So now it's time to make that Bavarian cream key lime pie I told you about. Now, I've made this recipe a couple of times before. Didn't turn out very good. And that's one of those things when you're in the kitchen and you're cooking and things don't turn out right, that's all right. Failure is where you learn from your mistakes. So I went back in and I tried it again and again. And what I ended up doing is just making my original Bavarian cream pie, and I just infused it with key lime. So try to make it really easy. So we're gonna start off with the pre-made pie shell. By all means, you guys, if you have a recipe to make your own pie shell, knock yourself out. But I'm in the business of helping you guys out, America, so I wanna make it as quick and easy as possible for you. So we're just gonna put that in your pie plate. I'm just gonna kind of just mesh the edges together around the side first, and then we're just gonna crimp it. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So you guys all know I'm a firm believer of using glass whenever I do any kind of baking. It's just such an excellent heat conductor. So as I got that rounded off nicely, I'm just gonna do a crimp. And the crimp is pretty much like a Pac-Man. I'm just gonna take my finger and just do it a pinch, just like so. And you just kind of work your way around it. Do you have to crimp? No. Will it still look the same? No. Remember when I told you about presentation? Presentation is everything. So we're gonna do that, do a nice little crimp. And then when I finish that, all I'm gonna do is just take a little egg wash, which is just 1 egg, about a tablespoon of water. I'm gonna throw this in the oven and par bake it. And what that means is I'm gonna pretty much partially cook it, but it's gonna be cooked almost all the way, but not all the way, because I don't want it too crusty. All right. So now that we got this all crimped up, we just want to just brush it with a nice little egg wash. Egg wash is literally just 1 egg, a little bit of water, brush it on there generously, and this is going to give you a nice golden brown crust. We're going to throw that in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 12 minutes, and then we'll make our custard. All right, now that we have that in the oven, we're going to go ahead and get our custard base ready, and this is exactly how you want to do it. Get your crust going in the oven, make your base. By the time your base is done, your crust should be done, and then you're good to go. So I have 3 egg yolks in there right now. You want to make sure that you use the egg yolk. Please use the egg yolk. The first time I made this in a cooking class. Forgot to separate the eggs from the yolk. Yeah, no, it did not work. It did not thicken up. So make sure you use the egg yolks. I'm a firm believer. I like using the brown organic eggs too as well. Give that a nice little mix. And then we're just gonna add the sugar right to that. Give that a nice little mix. And then I'm gonna put that on top of a double boiler. And pretty much all a double boiler is I'm actually steaming it. If you don't have one of these little fancy double boilers, no worries. You can just get you a nice small pot, get a bowl just big enough to fit over that, and then fill it up about halfway with water. So now that that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my 2 cups of milk. And my actual heavy whipping cream. Just 1 cup. All right, and just make sure you give that a nice little mix. You don't want to rush it. This is probably going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to come up to a boil, which is fine. Once it comes up to a boil, then we're going to add in our cornstarch slurry. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, and we'll finish this up, and we'll get to eat it. All right, all right. Looks like this pie shell is nice and ready, nice and golden brown for me. I'm gonna set that right there, and we're gonna finish up on our Bavarian cream key lime pie. So I didn't do this traditional. I kind of made a little bit of mistake. I'm sorry, but just to let you know that there's never anything perfect in the kitchen. If you have a meal and you do everything perfect, you call me and let me know, because it always doesn't work out that way. When you guys are at home, what you want to do is you want to make your eggs and your cream separate. Then you want to temper in the cream into the egg so it doesn't curdle. I kind of just threw it all in there, and it's actually going to work. You just want to make sure you constantly continue to stir it so that your eggs don't turn into scrambled eggs. I love me some scrambled eggs, just not with my dessert. So now what I'm gonna do is get my cornstarch slurry ready. Remember what I said about water? Not over here, you guys. So we're gonna add a little bit of this Vandrastic vodka right to there. Give that a nice little mix. Uh-oh. I think I need a little bit more vodka, I'm sorry. I'm not doing this on purpose, America. It literally is just not enough. That should do it. Oh yeah. Here's that cornstarch slurry again, I told you. I think we used whiskey the last time. Now we just made a vodka slurry. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in that key lime juice right to there. I'm probably putting in about 6 tablespoons. Okay. Turn that down just a little bit. And then I'm gonna add in 1 fresh key lime. Just cut that in half. I'm just gonna squeeze that right into it, just like so. And then what I actually do is I get my finger and get all up in there and get some of that meat up in there. Or zest, or pulp, whatever you want to call it. Oh yeah. So remember about the alterations. If I wanted to make a chocolate key lime pie, all I would have to do is add in some chocolate chips to that. Same thing with strawberry. Purr up half a cup of strawberries, add that to it. Now you have a strawberry cream pie. Now I'm just gonna add in that cornstarch slurry now. Make sure I mix that up really good. And remember what I said about cornstarch slurry, add in a little bit at a time, because even though the recipe might say 3 or 4 tablespoons, you might not need it all. And it's always better to add not too much of the cornstarch slurry than too much, because you will taste it if you add too much. I did that in one of my college tests. I did that, and I had never used colored starch before, and I was making a chowder soup, and I just kept adding to it. It was like a brick. So please don't do that. So you see, as I put that cornstarch in there, I'm constantly mixing it. And as I'm mixing it, it's just gonna start getting thicker and thicker. Yeah, this actually worked out, not tempering the eggs. But don't try it at home, America. All right, we'll check for consistency. If you can kind of see, like it should kind of look like a pudding almost. And I think that's pretty much as far as I want to take it. Actually, I'm just gonna add in a little bit more cornstarch. And as you see, I followed the recipe and I still have a little bit of cornstarch left. That's why it's important to just add a little bit at a time. So the last thing you want to do before you do that, and my instructor always told me, the most important thing you can do before you serve it to the guests is taste it. You know, we always think that, you know, oh, I'm not a chef, I'll never know what it's supposed to taste like, but we all have this great gift called taste buds on our tongues. And as soon as you put it on there, you'll be able to know if it's too sweet, not sweet enough. So we'll taste that and see where we're at. That's what I'm talking about. That looks good to me. So we're just gonna take that, pour that right into our pie shell. Oh, yes. You make this for your friends, you guys, let me tell you, they're gonna be talking about this for years to come. It's still a little hot. So now what you wanna do is just take your pie plate. You're gonna let this cool off for probably about 10 minutes, and then you're just gonna put it in the refrigerator for probably about 30 minutes. And then when it cools off completely, you're just gonna wrap that with saran wrap. And please, don't rush this. This has got to set for at least 6 hours. So don't be digging into it too fast. So we're gonna put this in there and grab our one, and then we should be good to go. All right, so now that we've let that sit, I actually made this pie last night. I wanted to make sure it was nice and firm, and that's what you're looking like. You know, it's got a little bit of a shake to it, but it's nice and stiff. And that's why you want to pour it into the pie shell right away. So when it starts to harden up, it hardens up as one pie. So we'll go ahead and get us a nice little cut and get that on the plate. I think the crew would like to taste it. I'll try it too. Oh, you guys don't want none of this, trust me. You don't want none of this. I'll give you a granddaddy slice. How about that? There you go. First one's always the hardest one to get out. We'll see. Oh, you sexy thing. There you go. Uh-oh. All right, now it's time for the taste test, you know. We're gonna go ahead and see how this is. Oh, there was one more thing left. I forgot. I made some chocolate vodka sauce over there, and I just pretty much just like chocolate ganache. Just a little bit of melted chocolate, a little bit of cream. Gotta drizzle that chocolate over there. The chocolate sauce is optional too as well. I just love chocolate sauce, because I'm chocolate, that's right. Let's see what that tastes like now. Nice. just like I remember it back in Florida. You guys got to try this and make this at home. This is definitely a great crowd pleaser. I got to eat another bite of this. All right, so that wraps up our show today. Just do a quick recap. You know, we started off with my champion's favorite. The reason why these recipes are so favorite to me is because it took so much work trying to develop them. And I definitely was creative and definitely thinking outside the box. And if you want to cook like a champion, I challenge you to be creative and cook outside the box too as well. So remember, we made our 2 different versions of our mac and cheese. We also even did the pate mac and cheese, what actually came out really, really well. And then we finished off with a traditional key lime pie with a chocolate rum sauce. So remember, always stay positive in the kitchen. Cooking is made to be fun. You're gonna make mistakes, just like as you see, I made a few of them, but that's okay. It's all about how you respond, you guys. So that's our show for this week. We'll see you next week. Keep in touch. Don't keep in touch, because you can't. That's our show. We'll see you next week. And remember, cook like a champion, then you can live like a champion.
Cooking Like a Champion is produced by Creative Edge Productions.
Chef Champion here to take you on another culinary journey. Whether you want to cook like a champion or just have a champion cook for you, Chef Champion LLC is your one-stop shop to culinary goodness. We offer a variety of services like private dinners in your home, professional cooking classes, motivational speaking, recipe development, and more. Need your brand promoted? What better way than to have a champion represent your brand right here on my show? Hire me today for your personal chef